MidstateRoofing.com. You know what they say. If you've got a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Three o'clock on a Monday. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show along with Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Jalen Tart at Master Control with us. No Gamecocks to react to today, so I don't have a full-on Monday monologue prepared like I typically do after South Carolina has played a football game. But we did have a heck of a week of college football. Big weekend around the National Football League as well. And if you are a New York Yankees fan, you are not happy. I'm happy that the Dodgers beat the Phillies. Again, anybody but the Phillies in the Major League Baseball playoffs, but plenty to get to. Gamecocks and LSU kicking at 7:45. I thought this one would be about where it is. I like to guess every week before I look at the first opening spread. I guessed 8.5. I think it opened, at least on ESPN Bet, at 9.5. Although I did check a little while ago, and it is at 8.5. So I think that'll probably move around there. LSU struggling to run the football. The Gamecocks finally ran it okay last weekend. It's big for everybody. I mean, look, every SEC game is big for the teams that are playing, but for LSU, still everything in front of them when it comes to playing for a conference championship, getting into the playoff, et cetera. But they need to figure some things out, and they had an off week to work on themselves. So did South Carolina, who comes out of this healthier. Where's Garrett Nussmeier right now in terms of his health, and Brian Kelly last week having to knock back some rumors that his quarterback was going to need in-season surgery and all these kinds of things.
The way he acted, you ever like catch someone in something and they go over the top?
Yeah.
It almost like his reaction made you think there was some juice to all that, right?
I mean, you might have. I did not. No, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're having surgery in 2025, you ain't keeping it from anybody.
I think that there's something with Nussmeier. I think he's not right.
Yeah, he's not.
His numbers aren't right. The eye test isn't right. Is it surgery? I don't know if it's that far. And maybe, look, some guys play through something. They have to get surgery in the offseason. That does happen. And usually it's minor. It's not. I don't think he's running around with 2 torn ACLs.
No.
But I think that there's something not right with him.
Well, and they've said that. I mean, he's definitely had, a lower leg injury and, I guess, a core injury to some degree, or at least, some hurt, some ache.
I just think the way Brian Kelly reacted, that there's something more going on than because Brian Kelly is
maybe, I don't know. But it's not surgery.
I don't think
if it were surgery, again, you're not hiding.
There's just surgery. I think Nussmeier is more hurt than they don't want you to tell you. They're never going to tell you because that's the way it is now. Because they tell you something, then God forbid South Carolina will go after that body part and try to dismember it, which is smart not to say anything. And it doesn't help when your offensive line stinks. That typically doesn't help you either. But it's just the idea there's something off with him. Just watching him play, you watch him move. He's not the same guy we saw last year.
Right. And they have admitted as much that there is something off. To what degree, they're not gonna. But look, I think something was off with Lenoris at Missouri. He didn't, you could tell he was not as
coming off of what happened to him.
He's not as comfortable running the ball. And then I think we saw it with DJ Lagway, who looked much better against Texas, and the Florida defense looked good. And I think DJ was in a walking boot for a lot of the early part of the season, and we know he had a lower leg injury. So I think a lot of these guys maybe aren't quite where they certainly ideally would want to be. But anyway,
I'll put it this way. I think Nussmeier's, whatever it is worse than Lenoris's, whatever it is. It might even be more lingering than Lagway's, whatever it is.
Maybe, but I also, again, I don't disagree with you per se because I don't know. What I do know is that LSU can't run, and how much is that affecting what Garrett Nussmeier wants to do and wants to be?
I feel like the offensive line's the problem, like with Texas. Everybody's yelling. We'll get to Arch later because Arch got to play better, but that offensive line's awful.
No, Texas has
and I think LSU's offensive line has really hurt everything they want to do on offense. Remember, they got guys in the NFL now from last year.
Right.
So I think that, and if you're Garrett Nussmeier, maybe your injury is watching your offensive line try to block in front of you.
Well, I was going to say,
that's probably the injury, right?
That doesn't make it any
hurts his eyeballs.
Of course, LSU's always going to have guys that go to the NFL. But anyway, Gamecocks, again, depending on where you're looking, just slightly over a touchdown underdog. 7:45, I think really more like 7:55 is going to be the kick time. That's the SEC Network game of the week. So our buddy Tom Hart and Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik, for the third time in 5 weeks, I think, will have the South Carolina Gamecocks.
I just want to just give Cole a Gamecock jersey as much as he's hanging out.
Oh, again, Tom, of course, I guess, no, 2 of the games that they did
Tom,
were here.
right?
Yeah, 2 of the games they did were here. So, anyway, we'll get into more on the Gamecocks.
Those guys have to start be blatant homers now for South Carolina.
Right.
Isn't that what it should be?
And Shane will be back on the airwaves tomorrow at 1 o'clock with his weekly press conference ahead of the LSU game. 5 games in 6 weeks now for South Carolina, though. At LSU, home with Oklahoma, home with Alabama, at Mississippi, and at a Texas A&M team that is still hard to figure out. I mean, again, they score 41 points and beat Notre Dame. They score 16 points and barely beat Auburn. Then they come back around and score more than 30 last week against a Mississippi State team that I thought was was going to give him a little go. And I think the rushing numbers ended up being like 300 to,
they went
80.
Yeah, they were ridiculous.
And so, for A&M, again, that's something that they're going to need to figure out about themselves. They go to Arkansas this weekend. Speaking of which, and again, I read some of Bobby Petrino's comments. And I didn't hear them. I didn't watch them. I just read them. But I don't think the guy can help himself. But he basically said, I felt like I had some unfinished business, and I've always felt that way, and I'm just glad to be back and you can't help but read between his lines and believe that he was plotting a coup.
No.
I know that's harsh.
Mm-hmm.
It's most likely not the case, but Hunter Yurachek and the brass at Arkansas had to know that those feelings may linger and ultimately come out. And poor Sam Pittman had to know, because that Petrino was just waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Just lurking.
Remember the rumor a couple weeks ago that Petrino was already back channeling around the Arkansas campus to, wedge himself in to take over. So, and here's the thing, too, about this. Remember when Pittman hired him? I say Pittman in air quotes hired him.
Exactly.
Let's go back to it real quick. If you're Sam, and you know this dude's background, right? Did Sam really hire him, or now we think about the university? The university hired him. I think we all can see that. And watching Petrino now, it's almost like Bobby's like, I'm going to be the coach next year, right? Can we get this all out of the way right now? I'm going to be the coach.
So anyway, A&M goes over there. State will be at Florida, which could be a really interesting game.
Do you think it was a kitchen knife? Do you think it was more of a butcher knife? Was it like, just a little shank? What do you think Bobby stabbed Pittman in the back with?
Look, well, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that. But it's
action.
It's just a creepy.
He's
the whole thing. I just don't like any of it.
You know what?
I really don't.
And the sad part is, and I don't either, is Arkansas is so blind with what he did the first time around, and they forget how it ended. All they saw, he's the last guy to win double-digit games there, right? That's all they see. They don't see the rest of everything that happened.
Yeah,
everybody just wants to see the wins.
They don't want to. I still wouldn't do it.
Neither would I.
But they may. But it's going to take a strong finish.
He has to have some kind of decent finish.
And I don't know that
that's a tough schedule.
Talon Green by himself can't really go get it done. They can't stop you from scoring.
No, their defense is awful.
That's not his thing.
No, it's awful. Didn't he fire all the three of the defensive staff right away?
Yeah.
Like within 5 minutes?
Because, he knows what defense is all about.
Sure.
By the way, the Carolina-Oklahoma game, if you didn't see this earlier today, will be a day game. It'll either be at 12 or 12:45. I think we know that Saturday or Sunday.
Yep. We know it's Saturday before 1.
Yes. 12
we good there?
12 or 12:45.
We know they're playing Oklahoma.
And I guess the fair will have right?
Yeah, fair's going, man. Yeah, the fair will be going.
So a fair day game.
They're fun.
Well,
I like the day, the night.
I like that when the fair is on. I like it. I like games at night because I like being able to look out over and see the fairgrounds all lit up. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, well, it depends. When I was a kid, you could still get beer at the fair. This is going way.
Wait, how old were you when you had your first beer at the fair? How old were you a kid?
No. Never had a beer at the fair. I promise you. But I do remember going, and I think maybe that was one of the reasons why they stopped selling beer at the fair. It's like a football crowd on a Saturday after a day game, man, because it was just like, this is not. This is not family friendly.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
But this weekend we got some good ones. Georgia will have Auburn this weekend.
Yes, that'll be interesting. What the level, I don't know, but it has a feeling where it could be interesting, at least in theory, for a bit.
Yeah. So we got some good ones. We'll get into all of the weekend's action for you, and obviously more than just what's going on around the Southeastern Conference. News flash: UCLA has a football team.
Well, for last week they did.
Second news flash: James Franklin has problems.
Oh, wow.
And listen, Well, I'll get into it later. I got something to say about James Franklin. That he said in postgame. I'm like, dude.
He said there's one thing.
You can't do that.
I'm going to tell you one thing about this entire Big Ten. Don't whine about traveling. Just saying. We'll talk about it more later, but don't whine about traveling. Because you know what? Go look at your direct deposit, right?
Yeah.
Can't have it both ways.
No. And the coaches may not have wanted it. The coaches don't have a say, but that doesn't matter. You got to go prepare the team.
You know what you got? Yeah.
Anyway,
it's the way. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But this is what you signed up for.
Yeah.
Now.
Although I think now they know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I think we ruined that one.
There's that. And I'll talk later about the Denver Broncos and a big win in Philadelphia. And the Panthers came back in Charlotte and beat Miami. They were down, 14-0.
Yeah, Panthers were down early, came back, and you were talking about having troubles. Miami's got troubles.
Yeah. Let's see. It was, it was 17-10 at the break. But I thought
they were down by 2 scores early.
It was 17-0.
Yeah, 17-0.
Yeah.
I thought they were down by 3 scores.
17-0. Yeah.
They came back. It was nice little comeback.
So the Panthers have actually won
2 games.
2 games.
That's 2 more than I thought they were going to win this year.
2
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah. How about that?
David Canales, September Coach of the Year.
Well, it was October.
Is it October now?
Yeah. But
when did it go October?
Last week.
Okay, first 5 weeks Coach of the Year.
Okay. No, that's probably
not
not
an
him,
award?
man. I think
I don't know. I don't know, Terry.
I think that's your boy Steichen, right?
Nah, what's more important? I mean, is there anything bigger than Carolina actually having 2 wins by now?
When's the last time they had 2 wins after 5 games? Should we look that up?
We probably have to.
I got you. I'll look it up for you.
Take a look at that.
803-404-6100 for you to be a part of the program. You want to get into the Gamecocks and LSU, what happened around the SEC, college football, the NFL. Plenty to do on a Reaction Monday. It's the Postgame Show. Love telling you about Mikey Johnson and his team at U.S. Brick. So glad they're part of what we're doing. A leading American-owned brick manufacturer headquartered right here in Columbia, South Carolina, but plants now in the Palmetto State, plus Alabama, Tennessee, and Indiana. Their Columbia facility has been producing residential, commercial, and authentic tumbled bricks for nearly 90 years, including putting some of their materials into Fort Knox and the Empire State Building. That is pretty cool. They have a brand new exterior design center now, just opened up down on 300 UG Street, right around the corner from Founders Park. In there, it features dedicated workspaces, project planning resources for pros and homeowners. Get in there with your contractor and then work with the pros at U.S. Brick for what your home is going to look like, maybe retaining walls, fire features out back. Again, 300 UG Street. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You can check them out online at usbrick.com and set up a time to get in there and work with the folks at U.S. Brick. All right, welcome back in. 19 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Monday. We have breaking news. I'm not real thrilled about giving you this news. But basically, as we were going to break a few minutes ago, right before it actually, and I just saw the alert come through and get my email, time-stamped at 3:10. I'll just read it. The University of South Carolina and the University of Miami football programs announced Monday that they have mutually agreed to cancel their home-and-home football series for the 2026 and 27 seasons. The Hurricanes were scheduled to play at Williams-Brice in Columbia in 26, with the Gamecocks making the trip to Hard Rock Stadium in 27. Both the SEC and ACC are moving to 9-game conference schedules in 2026. South Carolina has a non-conference home game against Towson and a road game at Clemson on its 26th slate and is actively pursuing a third non-conference opponents. Miami's 3 non-conference games now are Florida A&M, Central Michigan, and Notre Dame. Look, I get it, but I don't like it.
But two things can be true. You can understand, but you also don't have to like it.
I don't like it. It just look. You mutually agree to it. Fine. Neither. The reason they did it is because neither school wants to lose, and one of them knows they will.
Right, and that your schedule. You take a step back and look at your schedule. You're like, well, maybe we're loading up with
and they're going to tell you.
Much.
And again, I get it. They're going to tell you South Carolina's got Clemson. Duh. The Canes are going to play in South Bend. All right. So you've got a good, tough non-con.
10th game.
And then you've got 2 games that you better win.
Well, and that's what it is.
For South Carolina, you don't even know who you're going to play yet.
And that's, we kind of get the idea where that's going to go, right?
It's not going to be someone at Miami's level.
No.
And this was great. So how quickly, and I hope not, by the way, finalizing the details, but Jeremiah Donati is scheduled to be on with us Wednesday afternoon, so this will certainly come up. And we had an idea that this may happen. Sure. But what I was going to lead up to was how quickly might we also hear that South Carolina won't play North Carolina or NC State.
You could see that before it's all over.
And if the Southeastern Conference, and really every Power 4 conference now go to 9, is concerned about strength of schedule being taken more into account, I don't know. I just, look, this comes back around, and y'all can think I'm crazy. I don't care. I've been doing this long enough to know that maybe I am.
Well, you're absolutely crazy.
I love college football. And I'm sorry. I don't want, all I want is Power 4 games. But I'm prepared as a college football lifer in my mid-50s to let go of what it is that primarily drives the feeling of being a very successful team in any given season, and that's in college football, that you don't lose.
Right.
Or that you keep the loss. The loss is to, now in this world, 2.
Yep.
But really still, yeah, you and I get it. I get why. I grew up with it. Remember, y'all, I was married and 28 years old when college football finally decided, hey, you know what we should do? We should have a championship game.
And people lost their mind.
And we should play the game like a regular game on the field with 2 teams with helmets and a ball and the guys in stripes, and maybe the band comes. It'll be great. And some people were like, no. No, we don't do that in college football. We vote.
We vote. The coaches vote and the media votes.
I mean, think about it, y'all. The late 1990s.
We had split national champions in this game.
I mean, and people pick on, and not me, but people pick on certain sports like figure skating and gymnastics.
Because of judges.
And such, because there's judges. But in the grand scheme, you know what?
College football had judges.
College football was a beauty pageant until 1997.
Absolutely.
And so now, not only do we have a big playoff, but we still have the mindset that, oh, well, if you lose 3 games in college football, you suck.
Mm-hmm. And you can't play for a championship.
If you lose 4, you might not even play on New Year's Day.
You can't lose 3 games and win a championship.
Right.
I mean, last year there were people, after Ohio State won, it was like this, well, if you had just a 4 playoff like it should be, they wouldn't even have been involved. Right. But the point is, you expand the playoff and you involve the team that had a chance to get on a roll because you expanded the playoff, and a team that really had arguably the best roster in the game who won the championship.
Yeah, and they should have. I mean, they should, at least I said they should have won, but they did.
They should have had an opportunity, is what we're trying to say.
Yes.
Even with 2 losses.
Yes.
But the 2-loss thing is the thing with people.
And it doesn't need to be anymore. And I know people will say, sometimes that's what makes college football college football. It's what used to make college football college football. But the TV partners, with all due respect, don't want to see Miami versus Florida A&M.
No.
But they'd like a Miami-South Carolina game. They love a Carolina-Clemson game, a Notre Dame-Miami game, they, whatever, Georgia-Clemson. But they don't want Georgia and Georgia State.
No, and look, the balance of this is simple. Like, until we get that 3-loss champion in this tournament, this is the way it's going to be. Like, you and I have had this conversation. Giants beat the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. Anybody hold it against the Patriots? I mean, the Giants, they were a 7-loss team?
No, they were 9-7. Got hot. What, didn't lose like from Thanksgiving on?
How about this? Anybody hold it against, what was it, the Steelers were a 6 seed and won a Super Bowl one year?
Jim Plunkett
or the Ravens
Raiders
were like a 5 or 6 seed and won a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
We never talk about that.
No.
But in college football, we get so hung on the L.
And I look, as I said, here again, I understand why. You are listening to someone who has grown up with, I mean, hell, for a while I was like, I grew up a Bronco fan, but the NFL, I'm like, NFL is fun. I watch that on Sundays. Mm-hmm. But college football, is what you live. So that's me. I assure you, that's me. But I'm more than prepared to let go of that.
Well, I mean, you just have to at this point, especially if you want to expand the playoff. And here's the thing, too. If no one's saying that L's don't matter, of course they matter. But to the point of a team that can play a weak schedule and lose a game is valued higher than a team that plays a much tougher schedule and loses 2 or 3 games. That's where this thing has to change.
Yes.
And look,
and we're told it's gonna. We will see we'll see in a few weeks.
But I think, again, I understand why South Carolina did this. I'm like you. I don't like it. I want to see really good games. I want to see games that are competitive and compelling. And we know South Carolina is going to set, probably a group of 5 team that, is going to be playing in the MAC or wherever, and they should be able to handle them rather easily to get a win.
Well, so next year, Carolina didn't have one of the in-state FCS schools on the schedule. My gut tells me they now will.
Which wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's going to be a team that you're going to be able to beat easily. Because that's what you have to do right now. That's how you just set your schedule.
And I know Shane said, "Listen, I'll play it if everybody else is," and clearly everybody else isn't. So, like I say, this isn't going to be something that is unique to South Carolina. Unfortunately.
No, I mean,
but because we have a very stark illustration of it right here at home right now, you look at it and say this is going to be what happens in the near term until we can get the conference leadership, and that's not just the SEC. I mean, all conference leaders to just basically. And I know I sound like a football snob. Oh well. If you took the 60-some schools of the Power 4 plus Notre Dame and found a way to get a few others, Memphis, Tulsa, East Carolina, San Diego State, something like that. Get whatever this new Pac-12 is. Mm-hmm. Try to get a few of those to join it. Call it something else if you have to. I don't care what you call it. Mm-hmm. I really don't. Again, we go back to Tommy Boy. I can, I can take a dump in a box, man. But so get a select few that can handle it and have the resources, Terry. And then there's your scheduling pool, and figure it out. Again, there's more than enough people that make more than enough money that can figure it out.
Well, and I think that's what's going on here with South Carolina and Miami is the idea of, but we don't want to be sitting here scheduling harder than everybody else. And then we put ourselves in a what, Jay? A disadvantage.
No, but I mean, if I go out and poll fans and say, would you rather play Miami with a much greater chance to lose, or do you just want to play
a schlub
Towson?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it won't be 100%. But I know it'll be a majority that say, I want to play against a good team because it's more fun to beat a good team.
And plus, it's fun to watch a good game.
So, anyway.
And by the way, don't disrespect Towson.
No, I get it. Carolina and Miami have canceled their home and home. We'll see what other schools follow suit as changes are made to conference scheduling around the country. All right, Jalen does have some stats for us. We'll come back on the other side with that as the postgame show. 25 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here. Jalen at Master Control. Before we move into more of the breaking story around Gamecock football, I did mention earlier we were joking, Panther fans, so we're not picking on you or anything. But when was the last time the Panthers had won more than two? So at least three games of their first five.
So before I answer, I thought it was going to be way years ago.
Okay.
But it's recent. 2021.
Okay.
Sam Darnold was the starting quarterback.
Okay.
They beat the Jets, New Orleans.
Okay.
At Houston, they won.
Okay.
At Dallas, they lost. And at Philly, they lost.
So 3 teams that they should beat, they did. And the 2 teams they shouldn't beat, they didn't.
And that season, they ended.
They lost.
What was their final record that year? 2020.
5-12.
So you start off 3-2 and you totally cratered. Totally cratered. So what were the last 2 victims the rest of that season?
At Atlanta and at Arizona.
Should you really get like a full win?
Yeah, I'll give you a full win. There's only 32 teams. I'll give you a full
win.
Yeah, I'll give you a full win.
All right.
And the first 2 games they won were at home, so they were 2-0 to start off the season.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Yeah.
We see the same. I mean,
you start 3-2 and you end 5-11.
Yeah. How's Sam Darnold doing these days?
Hey, you know what?
How's Baker Mayfield doing these days?
You know, isn't it funny? Man, yeah, how about that Daniel Jones? You put some of these guys in the right place with the right type of don't get too crazy yet, dude. It's October.
I know.
God love you. But you put these guys in better situations, better organizations, and better coaching.
Maybe
and
you realize it's not the
player.
Thank you for doing that, Jalen.
You're welcome.
Nice work.
We'll see if the Panthers. Well, we'll see.
Jay will slip you some cash later.
We'll see. All right, back to our breaking news. If you just tuned in, it was just announced right after we came on the air that Carolina and Miami have canceled their home-and-home football series that was going to start next year here and then finish up down in South Florida in 27. I don't like it. I'm going to go strictly, but I told you all I wouldn't like it, and I kind of knew it was coming. But let me say again, I don't like it. I get it. I don't like it. But, one of the things that I do like about games like that early is how much more it ramps up your season. And let me blend a couple of topics here because you and I know countless others around the country, rightly, in my opinion, had maybe taken some swipes at Penn State. And I know it's mean to say for scheduling 3 high school teams. But seriously, they played Villanova and like Florida International or Florida Atlantic or something. I forget which. I don't know. And Nevada. And you know what they've done since they played those 3 games and took a week off?
What have they done, Jeff?
They've lost, Terry Ford.
Wow.
Because they weren't ready. And I don't know that their mindset was there. I don't know how good they were. I like games like Carolina, Virginia Tech. I like games like Clemson, LSU. I like games when Georgia plays Clemson, or Alabama plays Florida State or whatever. I think, and in the case of Alabama, this particular season, Bama did not take it seriously enough, and we saw what happened. We also have seen that maybe instead of ramping them up before the game, it worked afterwards because they haven't lost yet. And they had a nice win the other day. But so I like, this is another part of it. I like those games in the non-con. Look, I get why some people want to have a cupcake.
Sure.
I get it. We like cupcakes.
Oh, love me some cupcakes.
I understand.
Cupcakes are awesome.
But, sometimes you just might have to be given the cupcake without knowing it's a cupcake. For instance, some years in the National Football League, a team might be really good. Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Right now, you can pretty much tell, based on what Denver did to Cincinnati last week and what Detroit did to Cincinnati yesterday, that's a cupcake now.
Yeah, with no Joe Burrow, it's a whole different ballgame.
It's just, and it could be that way in college football, too. Right now, look, Vanderbilt's better than you think, but Kentucky's not.
No.
And I don't want to call Kentucky a cupcake, but they're a cupcake. I have concerns about Kentucky's ability to win
They are a
Conference
cupcake
game.
with that really cool, like cream cheese icing.
Yeah.
It tastes
It's
so
one of those
good.
expensive cupcakes.
Exactly, the fancy one.
But it's still a cupcake.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if Kentucky's going to win a conference game.
Honestly, they're only going to be favored, I believe, maybe definitely only one other time, maybe two the rest of the year. That's where they're at. And my thing, like for an example, like the Virginia Tech game. You didn't really know what Virginia Tech was, right? You thought they were going to be better than last year. They've been a solid team, and you came and you beat them, and you got to play a power conference squad. And even though Virginia Tech isn't, it looks like they're going to be, still, you know what you did? You played a power conference squad right off the get-go. And that's going to give you a little bit more of a test than playing the Pennsylvania School of Carpentry or, the rec center or whatever Penn State played, because then you got into real games, and saying UCLA is a real game is a stretch, because do you know UCLA going into that game was the last team left in the country in the power leagues, I believe. They had not led 1 second all year going into the Penn State game.
I know New Mexico beat the heck out of them.
Everybody beat the heck out of them. They were averaging 14 points a game going into that contest with Penn State, Jay.
Yeah.
And look what they did to Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically, to the point, is you really didn't test yourself in any way, shape, or form, even a little bit.
Yeah, and you almost bragged about it.
Yeah, you were pumping your chest on it.
Like, hey, we don't need to.
We
do
got
that.
everybody coming back.
Look at our
man.
conference schedule. I'm like, okay, well then maybe the conferences ought to think about at least having conference games to start.
And I think this goes back to the point. Like if you're South Carolina, Miami, any team that's looking at your schedule and seeing that you're loading it up a bit in the future, because now the conferences have expanded the conference games. Now you step back and you look at a Penn State schedule, for an example, and go, wait a minute, we're going to play Miami, and they're going to play the State College School of Botany. Hold on for a minute here. So you don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage, because some schools will not. Look, Missouri, God love them. They beat South Carolina.
They don't challenge themselves.
They don't challenge themselves at all. So is that fair that you're going to play challenging games that are compelling and you could lose them, and you look at some of the other competition you have in your league?
I just think the schools like South Carolina, like Georgia, like Clemson that have decided to play these games, and I'm just using local examples, there are others around the country, need to put more pressure on other schools. And again, I think the TV partners could do some of that too. I know Ernest wants to weigh in on some of this before we hit the break. Ernest, how you doing,
Ernest,
bud?
what's up, man?
Hey, Jay. Hey, Terry. Yeah, so you would have had to cancel South Carolina, Miami if you get rid of, and just hear me out, you get rid of the SEC, the ACC, the MEAC. Put us in divisions like the NFL. You have division championships building up to, you have your AFC against your NFC to have your national championships. We're already paying them to play. Let's really make it even across the board so Wofford can get more of these, so like, let's say, South Carolina's division, you would have Clemson, Georgia Tech, Wofford, Furman. You see where I'm going with this? Make it even across the board. That way, when the NCAA lays down a penalty, now it's a real penalty.
Yeah, I get where you're going with that, Ernest, and I think, look, in theory, I've heard people say that, but scrapping conferences is much easier said than done, and B, this is as much to do, if not more to do, with resources than it is with geography. Now, the SEC likes to have things contiguous in terms of who it's going to, invite in and things like that.
They want everybody to touch all the states.
And that's fine. And I think even when they expand again, and they will, it'll be contiguous states, probably North Carolina.
I was going to say north of here.
But again, it's about who can. Look, Ernest, Wofford and Furman can't hang with Carolina.
No, they don't have the resources.
They just can't.
No.
They just simply can't. But we got to look at it from a different perspective. But again, just get rid of the Towson game and play Miami. You're listening to the Postgame Show. All right, got some competing opinions from some of you on the Miami cancellation. We'll get back into that in just a minute, but we'll let Terry get.
Oh, that really sucked. We really could have picked multiple things from the Arizona Cardinal Tennessee Titan game that we could have used as the example of that really sucked.
I had it on Red Zone yesterday, and it was at times like, y'all get paid to do this.
What
right?
the hell was going on? But my favorite moment, out of all the bad moments of the Arizona Cardinals, it wasn't Kyler Murray taking a snap off the face. It wasn't the Cardinals intercepting a pass, then fumbling it, and the Titans scoring a touchdown off of it.
Which is maybe that has to be the play of the year.
It was crazy.
That was so crazy.
I need to focus on this because this has become an epidemic.
Okay.
In the NFL, and this really sucks. Hit it, Jalen.
Third and short. First down, DeMarcado off to the races. 20, 10, touchdown. Ball, did he drop it early? Boy, that's going to be close. Oh, my goodness. Boy, he extended it with his hand a little bit. Did Sneed's trying to say that he got the ball out. Wow. You see him kind of put it on his fingertips, but did he have control, Arch, before that thing broke the plane?
That ball.
No, it didn't. Let me help you out real quick.
It didn't.
Once again, our boy Emery DeMarcado took off. If DeMarcado holds on to the ball, Jay Phillips, it's a 72-yard touchdown run. It's now 28-6, and game is over. DeMarcado did the new epidemic that we've seen the last few years, and the Deshaun Jackson disease, and decided to let the ball fall out of his hands so he could celebrate in the end zone. Problem was, DeMarcado was at the quarter-yard line when he let it go?
Yeah, but it's clear. It was clear. It was obvious.
Clear, and it's a touchback, and you don't get the touchdown, and the other team gets the ball.
Listen, I've said for years, and again, I don't care if I sound like old dude. When I was growing up here in Columbia, South Carolina, when I was 7 turning 8, 8 turning 9, and 9 turning 10, South Carolina had an amazing tailback. His name was George Rogers.
Never heard of him.
He had 3 1,000-yard seasons, and he scored a lot of touchdowns. And every time George scored a touchdown.
Did he dance?
Nope.
No dancing? Did he drop the ball?
He went to the back of the end zone, and he laid the ball on the back line of the end zone. Then he celebrated with his team.
Now, here's my question. If you do that, are you in the end zone all the way?
Yeah, he is all the way
So you're
through.
in the end zone, right?
George always made certain
both
that he was
feet,
all the way
balls
in the end zone. 30 feet of end zone, laid the ball down comfortably, and then he would go hug and celebrate with his team.
That's what this thing I don't get. I get you want to celebrate. Look, I'm all for celebrating. Scoring a touchdown's hard. I get it. But again, why the bleep do you feel like you got to let the ball go that close to the goal line?
I don't get that. I really don't even.
I don't
like,
either.
I don't know what. And again, I'm not even kidding. Like, to me, it's like, why wouldn't you follow the model of some? And look, you don't have to do it the way George did it. But you know what, George? I mean, seriously. It was always certain.
Can I tell you something?
Because he had the ball in his hand until he went and set it down.
I am to this point. If I was a coach, we would I guess the Cardinals will get back at it Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Because you have Monday off.
Usually.
You know the first drill I'm going to do? Running the ball into the end zone.
Yeah.
We're going to line up and I'm going to make everybody suffer.
Well, there should be a fine. I mean, this shouldn't be like kangaroo court.
Yeah,
there should be like a literal, bro, you just cost us a touchdown.
What I'm going to start tomorrow is I'm going to line everybody up at the 1 yard line and run 99-yard sprints into the end zone with the ball in your hands. And we're going to run them. And I'm going to put, I know you can't do this. I love to put the garbage cans up. And we're going to run them until everybody starts puking. So you know what we're going to learn, Jay? What we're going to do with the ball, we get into the end zone. Yeah. We're going to carry it into the end zone.
Well, just put some garbage cans at the back line, and you will drop the ball in here. This is how you do it. You do not drop it anywhere else.
And you're right, the old school kangaroo court. There's going to be a fine within the team, and you're going to pay money. Because really, that wasn't the only thing. But if DeMarcado scores, it's done.
Yeah.
It's 28-6. It's over.
But that
really sucked.
But that did. But
the whole fourth
so
quarter
did
sucked.
that crazy. My wife and I were watching. We had it on Red Zone. Because both our teams had played in the early window, so we were both like, "Yay, our teams won!" So Red Zone was a lot more casual for us yesterday, and we were like looking at each other like, "Wait, Did that just happen?
It was crazy. It was a crazy play.
If y'all hadn't seen that play,
go look for that one.
I'm telling you, that's like, that may not be like the coolest play of the year, but it's the craziest play.
It was just bizarre.
Yeah. But yeah, just hold on to the ball, man.
Just carried into the end zone. It's not difficult.
All right, we got a lot more to get to on the breaking news of the day around Gamecock football. We'll do it at the top of the hour. Keep it here. Griffin Pools and Spas, always ready to make your backyard dreams a reality. Yes, even as the summer now has turned into the fall, Griffin Pools and Spas has their end-of-year sale going on starting next week, the 16th through the 19th. I'll give you more details as we get closer to that. So will they, but a lot of great stuff over there. But listen, all right, you're not thinking about a swimming pool right now, but maybe you're thinking about a hot tub, which you could use all the time. At Griffin Pools and Spas, they know that relaxation is a huge part of your life, and they want to make that kind of relaxation a daily reality for you. So reach out to Griffin for a free estimate and let their experts take you through the entire process of getting that perfect spa or hot tub that is just right for you, your family, and your backyard. Nothing like coming home after a long day at work, flipping on the switch, and relaxing in that nice, warm whirlpool. Steps away from the Lake Murray Dam in Lexington, and always online to learn more. GriffinPoolsandSpas.com. 4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Welcome back in. Second hour of the postgame show coming at you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, along with Terry Fordham, Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart at Master Control. Thank you for being with us. We had breaking news just after we came on the air today, and that has been a big part of what we talked about in the first hour. If you haven't already heard, let me get back to the official release. That's probably the easiest way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
University of South Carolina and the University of Miami football programs announced Monday that they have mutually agreed to cancel their home-and-home football series for the 2026 and 2027 seasons. That's the first paragraph of it. And I'll just go on to say that, the Canes were coming here next year. Carolina would go back down to Hard Rock, where I guess they haven't played since winning that CarQuest Bowl against West Virginia. Am I right about that? Anybody hadn't played another bowl game there? Hadn't been to the Orange Bowl. I know that much. Just racking my brain on that one. If anybody else remembers one and I'm just drawing a blank, then let me know. Anyway, of course, here recently enough, I'll just read this part. Both the SEC and ACC are moving to 9-game conference schedules in 2026. South Carolina has a non-conference home game against Towson and a road game at Clemson on its 2026 slate, and is actively pursuing a third non-conference opponent. Hang on. Miami's 3 2026 non-conference games are Florida A&M, Central Michigan, and away at Notre Dame.
All right, so you've got Towson, which is your FCS game, right? And you've got...
Are they FCS?
Yeah. And you got Clemson, which is your big power rivalry game in the Power 4
I was thinking, is Towson not they didn't move up to FA like Charlotte? They're not like Charlotte? Okay.
No, they're still sitting there. Okay. I mean, I haven't drank there in a while. Maybe they did something when I wasn't looking. But no, they're still, from my mind tells me they're still FCS.
Okay.
So you're going to look for, my guess is you're going to look for a certain game in the FBS on a Sun Belt, a MAC, some kind of deal
you
like
get a
that.
Sun Belt, that's going to cost you like $2 million.
USA. You're going to pull somewhere in there to make sure a game that you got a better chance of winning.
So
you're going to write a check.
So Charlotte's coming down. So
again. It was like 2 years ago when they thumped them. But that's the thing. Look, again, I'm like you. I understand it. I don't like it because as a fan, I want to watch good, compelling football. And these games aren't good, compelling football. You typically smack them all over the field for 3.5 hours. And if you look in the stands, what don't you see?
Well, you don't see a full boat.
No, you don't see a full boat. Your TV ratings, I guarantee you, are down compared to playing a game against a compelling opponent. And it's just a different world now. You know, you're fighting for content. You're fighting for eyeballs. You're fighting for the casual fan. You think the casual fan has a better chance of stopping on Miami and South Carolina or stopping on Kent State and South Carolina?
Yeah.
Would you rather, as a fan, go see Miami at Williams-Brice or, Bowling Green? No offense. I mean,
Sorry, I'm trying to type on Twitter here. This is because I'm getting ready to get these things on Twitter. No, look, I told you earlier, and I think I'm pretty much right about this, just because I know this area very well. I understand the two sides of the coin.
Sure.
And I'm going to go strictly from a fan perspective because you want to win. But at the same time, to the point you just made, there's a lot of people. Look, let me do it like this. Hang on a second here. All right, so got two different tweets here. Josh's is much longer, and I'm not. Again, feel how you feel. I'm not here to disagree with anybody. All right. In fact, I just retweeted Josh, and I just retweeted another guy, and I asked the same question. Anybody else feel this way?
Okay.
All right. Of both of these opinions, and they are differing opinions. Josh says, in terms of the cancellation, had to. Don't like the 9-conference game schedule for this reason. But if we have 9 and a set game against Clemson, those other 2 have to be cupcakes. Can't put our team through 11 games like that. Hope we get out of that App State series as well. Wow. Meanwhile, this guy's name is Justice. says very simply, I'm not paying to watch another Furman game. You know, I can't say those are directly competing opinions. The one thing, and Josh, because you went longer, I'm going to spend more time on yours because, Justice, I think I have made my point abundantly clear about Power 4 schools playing FCS teams, not just South Carolina or Clemson playing the in-state FCS teams. My feeling is a coast-to-coast, border-to-border feeling when it comes to the FCS scheduling. And I've been very bluntly clear about that for years. But, Josh, I'll push back a little bit when you say can't put our team through 11 games like that. Now in the Power 4 and in major college football, you know, you can have more than 85 scholarship players. You just can't have a whole bunch of walk-ons.
Right.
But you can have more than enough of a roster to go through the season. And I know that college football isn't the National Football League, but if the National Football League can do it with a 53-man active roster and then however many are on the practice squad to move guys in and out when there's injuries because it's football, then I think college football can survive with 100 players.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal
I
opinion.
would think so.
So I think you can. I believe you can. I think one of the real differences, Josh, that you don't mention, and I know is a big problem for a lot of schools, is because 9 games is imbalanced when it comes to home and away. You got to find a way to have a 7th home game every year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And because schools don't want to go to 6 home and 6 away like the NFL does, which is, and even now the NFL, which is why, trust me, the NFL is going to go to 18 because they're not going to drop back to 16. But it used to be, obviously, you had 8 and 8, or back when it was 14, 7 and 7 in Major League Baseball. It's 162. You play 81 and 81. NBA is 41 and 41. Y'all get it. I mean, heck, even in conference play until next year, it was always home and away is equal. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. And so that's the problem, is that the gate is being messed with. And I understand that part of it too. Again, I'm not here to go, I can't believe they're doing this. Why would they do this? I'm not naive. But I can come back around to saying that while I understand all these things, it doesn't mean I have to like them, or it doesn't mean that college football can't continue to find ways to adapt to a new world. And if you can find ways to make that revenue up, one of the things I've talked about, Terry, and I know I'm not trying to go off topic, but because revenue means so much, look, Carolina's now got the deal with Blanchard Machinery. Other SEC schools have followed suit. You know, they got Pilot Flying J up in Knoxville. But one of the things that I think is doable, and look, you're going to have to hold your nose if you don't like some of the things I'm about to say. But it's time for college football to put a patch on the sleeve and a sticker on the helmet. But what I would do is, instead of doing it school by school, let the conference go sell that.
Mm-hmm. Make more money.
You know?
Make a lot more money.
And I don't care who it is. Coca-Cola, it can't be alcohol, apparently. And I understand that, too. You know, or Camel cigarettes. Although, having Joe Camel on there would be, I'm kidding.
Joe Camel kind of looks cool.
I'm kidding. But, if the Atlanta Braves can put a quick read sticker on their sleeve, then college football teams can put a whatever patch on their sleeve.
Sure.
And you know what? After about the first 2 series of the first game they play in it,
nobody cares.
You're not going to pay attention to it. It's just there.
How many people are really focusing on the field since?
Right. And you'll see it, and it'll be there for the advertisers so that y'all don't push back and go, well, then, Jay, if nobody's paying attention to it, why would it even be there? It'll be there. You just won't go, ugh. And I don't care if you don't like European soccer or even MLS for that matter. But they make tons of money off of those shirt sponsors.
Sure they do.
And nobody's asking for that. I mean, ask NASCAR how it's working out. Ask F1 and IndyCar how it's working out.
Why do we have a term, you NASCAR'd everything up?
Right.
They know what's going on.
Look at most pro golfers.
Oh, they're covered in stuff.
I mean, the ones that aren't are guys like Rory, who just has Nike because he's Rory.
Right.
He doesn't need MasterCard and NetJets
some of those
FedEx.
Some of those guys have got neck tattoos
they do,
now.
man.
I mean,
and the reason is because it makes more money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way to do it. I'm not saying but I'm just going to come back around to the basic point. And for those of you who disagree or feel like Josh, can't put our team through that. You got to have a cupcake. Okay, that's how you feel. I don't feel that way.
Right.
And Justice, I'm a lot more like you. South Carolina, listen, y'all. Again, let me say, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But South Carolina is not going to go out and find an opponent the caliber of the University of Miami football team to come to Williams-Brice next year.
No, and they don't. And
they don't want to.
They don't want to. They want to get a mid-level type of team in a group of 5 situation if they can bring in here and smack around pretty easy.
And look,
that's really the
and like I said, I'm not. I'm making this about Carolina because the Carolina-Miami announcement happened after the 3 of us came on the air today. But I will be doing my research as quickly as I can to find out what other non-cons were scheduled inside the Southeastern Conference and which ones have a higher likelihood of being canceled. Because, Terry, you asked me a question about Georgia. Would Georgia do this? I don't know who Georgia's got coming up. Georgia this year was supposed to play Oklahoma non-con, but then Oklahoma joined the conference, and they had to move it around. In a few years, Clemson's non-con is Notre Dame, Georgia, and Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
will that stick?
They'll probably have to get rid of one of those, but I got to tell you, it won't be Carolina, obviously, and I don't think it's going to be Notre Dame with the way those 2 schools decided they wanted to play each other. So you may see Georgia-Clemson go away, and that would be unfortunate because it's a fun game.
Sure.
So,
But until like we said when this first
But if everybody played everybody in the power conferences.
If you could get uniformed scheduling across the board in some way, shape, or form, we know it's not the NFL, you have all these college programs, but you could find a way to make it some type of uniformity across the board through the power leagues, then that is the first step in fixing all this. And then the second thing, like you and I talked about, you got to get past the fact that a loss is so devastating to you. You just have to move forward. Look, last year, Ohio State lost to Michigan again. They had 2 losses in the regular season, and they won the national championship. Hopefully that is the start of people understanding that, you don't have to be 11-1. Or undefeated.
But you can go play some good games.
But you can play good games. And to Ohio State's credit.
We even blended in the story, or the situation with Penn State. And in Terry, in my opinion, to some degree, and we're not alone, Penn State scheduled way down.
Mm-hmm.
And whether we want to call them, high schools or not, and look, it's not fair. So, but seriously, they played Nevada, they played, was it FAU and
the Villanova basketball team,
right? And then they took a week off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost.
Tired after those.
And then they lost to Oregon. Granted, in overtime at home, but they still lost.
Yeah, they lost.
And then they lost at UCLA. And we'll come back, by the way, because I do want to get away from this and into some other things. And we teased it earlier on something that James Franklin said, and I'm like, dude.
It's not it.
You can't say that. Right. We'll tell you, let you hear what he had to say about that. And again, weigh in on this Carolina news today, please. I'd love to hear from you, regardless of your opinions. How do you feel about South Carolina and Miami canceling this home and home? Because I got to be honest with you, I was looking real forward to this. I don't think Miami had been here since Vinny Testaverde was their quarterback. And young Jay Phillips was in high school back then. Long time ago, man. Long time ago. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
All right, CHW Cabinetry. Again, the number is 803-520-6837. And one of the things we always like to just, when we talk about CHW Cabinetry, we can say go to the website and you'll see these phenomenal cabinets that CHW Cabinetry has put in folks' homes and how they start from beginning to end with you to make sure you get the look you want and you're looking for. And they do these awesome photorealistic renderings. But really what sets them apart is just the customer service, the care that Star and everyone at CHW Cabinetry puts into the work for every customer. Because, again, happy customers make repeat customers. It makes kind of a family feel and a family atmosphere. And when you go over there, you know, you're not just a customer, but you're a valued kind of partner in what they do at CHW Cabinetry. So call 803-520-6837. Phenomenal cabinets and customer service. CHW Cabinetry.
All right, welcome back in. Reaction Monday rolling on, and we are reacting now, not to some of the action over the weekend, though we have, and we will again, but reacting to breaking news that came down just after we came on the air, that South Carolina and Miami have canceled their home and home for 26 and 27. The release from Carolina says it was a mutual decision, which I certainly believe. And like I said, for those of you just tuning in, I get it. I just don't like it because I I'm somebody who wants nothing but big time games for everybody all the time, and I wish college football would come around to that. I think the reasons are twofold. One, some teams don't want to lose. Two, you with 9-game conference schedules and 5 and 4 home and away in varying years, you need to find a way to have your gate and the 7th game, and instead of going to 6 and 6 in terms of home games, away games. But until we let go of this notion that if you lose more than 2 games, you're probably done. Well, let's come up with something where that doesn't happen anymore. And we can. And you're still going to have to be really good. It isn't like I'm sitting here going, I think if you're 5 and 7, but you played the number 1 most difficult schedule in the country, you should be in the playoff. No, that ain't going to happen either.
No, I mean, no one's saying that wins and losses don't matter. It's just we got to get it out of our head that, if you lose 3, if you're 9 and 3,
if you lose
can't
a
win
third game, you're done.
Right.
Yeah, we need to let go of that. But
right.
Anyway, let's before we get to this James Franklin cut, which is it's funny and he didn't want it to be.
Yeah.
A lot of you on the phone lines wanting to talk. Let's get to Tim to go next on this topic. Hey, Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Hey, I appreciate y'all taking my call. First of all, I've kind of heard parts of this. I've been in and out of my vehicle, so y'all might have already addressed some of this. But I'm an LSU fan. I can't stand Florida. But I think Florida's out-of-conference schedule this year should be what every big-time program plays out-of-conference every year. They played Miami. They're playing Florida State. They played South Florida. If you have 3 losses, and if you win one of those 3 and you lose another SEC game or something, you got 3 losses, you're in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Florida's schedule. It's ironic because typically, Tim, as you may know, sometimes Florida also schedules very lightly other than their Florida State game. And so this year that they had Miami, and remember USF, beat them. Tim, thanks for the phone call.
Appreciate it.
So far I've tried, and I'm not going to be able to get to all of the schools, but the only one I found for looking ahead to next year that does have 2, because Carolina had 2 Power 4 non-cons, and again, I haven't looked at everybody yet. Mm-hmm. But the only one I found that will have 2 Power 4 non-cons next season is Georgia. And however y'all feel about this, they are 2 Power 4s. They've got Louisville and obviously Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I realize that that's not Clemson or Miami, but I still, look, if you said, hey, if you told me, I don't know, Terry, hey, Carolina's not going to play Miami, but they're going to play Virginia.
That's solid.
Or Wake. Like, I'd still rather have that.
Sure, and this year Virginia's competing for the ACC championship, but to your point, yeah, I see where you're going. It's going to be interesting to see who Miami gets replaced by. It is. I mean, again, I'm guessing it's going to be someone like we're discussing, some kind of Power 5 school that you have a much better chance to beat than Miami. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like that's where it's going.
Well, you're not wrong, because if you
might as well keep Miami.
Yeah, you keep Miami.
But let's bring this up with Florida really quick. To the point of the caller, I do give Florida credit for, playing South Florida and, playing Florida State and Miami and playing this, and you obviously throw in Long Island because, you got to play somebody you can whoop. And plus, that's a great drink, that iced tea. But the flip side of that, though, is when you're Billy Napier and you're hanging on by your fingernails, this schedule also helps to get you canned if you can't win.
You got to win the games,
right?
And they listen. Look, I know USF is good at football, but you still, if you're Florida, you can't lose.
And let's be honest, USF has only gotten good at football really here lately in the last couple of years because they would have a good year every now and then, but stumble around for a while.
Well, when Jim Leavitt was there, they were good, and then they fell off. And UCF was the one that kind of emerged as being better amongst that next level.
Again,
of Florida
when this game was scheduled, I'm guessing South Florida wasn't to what they are now.
No.
And so that's the other thing about schedules. You do this stuff years down the road, and all of a sudden, this team you thought might be a cupcake,
look,
not a cupcake
and I'm with you.
anymore.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but regardless,
You should beat South
When
Florida.
you're Florida,
You should beat South
you
Florida.
beat
Sure,
South
absolutely.
Florida. You know.
But that just shows you where Florida is. But the point is, your thought was, okay, we'll beat Long Island and South Florida. That's 2 W's right there.
Yeah.
And then the Florida State Miami game, we'll see. But let's say we go 2-2.
Them.
Let's say we end up 2-2, 3-1, whatever the case is. We feel pretty good moving forward. But because South Florida all of a sudden became a good team, and you have fallen back as Florida, now you got an L.
Yeah. Thomas up next on the AAA phone lines. Hey, Thomas, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm just going to wind it back a little bit there. They couldn't pay me to be a coach because when that kid, when that guy did that at the goal line, on the next day off, the whole team would be in the facility at 6 o'clock watching Barry Sanders' touchdown run.
Mm-hmm.
Where every time Barry scored a touchdown, he wouldn't hand the ball to the official.
Yeah.
So we will be watching that for hours.
Well, that's why I said, and that's what I said about Barry, about George Rogers again. When I was a kid, George ran through the end zone and then very gently would place the ball on the back end line, and then celebrate with his teammates. Not before.
They said Barry Sanders did it was because he basically will look at the ref with the idea, I'm going to be back here a lot.
Right.
So it's really not that big of a deal to me because I score a lot of these.
Yeah.
And that was just Barry Sanders. And again, when we were kids, you were taught to act like you've been there before, act like you've done it before.
Right.
That was drilled in our head. Like, don't go off celebrating because you do all that stuff. It's like you don't do this much. But if you just act like you've done it before, then people think, well, that guy's really good because he's always there because it's not that big of a deal to him.
Well,
that was the old days, is what I'm saying.
And if he missed it, a guy for the Cardinals should have had a really long, really good touchdown run and decided to drop the ball at the half-yard line.
Quarter-yard line.
And
of course, we had one last week with Mitchell in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't. I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to say I don't get it.
I just carry it to the end zone and
you should be
celebrate
fined. I mean,
all you want.
You should be fined.
I don't understand
by your team. The league can't fine you, but your team should be able to fine you.
It's crazy.
I add this too. Doing that costs, it could potentially cost Arizona their season and coaches' jobs.
It could.
That's how critical that is.
Well, how often does the final week? I mean, it could absolutely.
What if you say
be a playoff
to
spot.
Jalen's point? What if you're Arizona and you finish the season one game out of a playoff spot?
Yeah.
And you can look back to because again, that long run it was 21-6.
Right.
And on that long run, if you hold on to the football and cross the goal line and do George Rogers or Barry Sanders, it's 28-6. That game's over.
Yeah.
Instead, you gave the Titans life with that foobar at the goal line.
Yeah. All right, we will. I know I keep doing it, but we just this Carolina story has dominated this year, and sometimes we have a full show prepared, and then something breaks, and that happens.
We promise in the next segment.
But I do because I still think in some ways it ties in. We can tie this to the story, but James Franklin said something that he really just shouldn't have. Not like X-rated. I don't mean it that way. But it's like Coach, nah, man. That ain't how it works.
Yeah, no one in that conference should utter that word.
We'll get that for you on the other side. You're listening to the Postgame Show. Palmetto Propane has been a family-owned business here in the Midlands of South Carolina since 1959. Yes, they deliver propane to homes and businesses and farms all across the area, but now they do so much more for you. In addition to being a full-service propane company, their Palmetto Propane Hearth and Patio home store showrooms have all kinds of great stuff to make your life a whole lot nicer, warmer, easier, more efficient, top-of-the-line gas appliances like Rinnai tankless water heaters, gas fireplaces, outdoor fire features, lanterns, and lighting, so much that can just make life a whole lot more comfortable for you. Get into the showroom if you've been thinking about a gas fireplace, indoors or out, but especially the indoors. Everybody likes a wood-burning fireplace, and let's face it, some gas fireplaces kind of these days, a whole lot nicer and a whole lot more realistic. See for yourself. Batesburg, West Columbia, Lexington, and Aiken, Augusta. Online at palmettopropane.com.
Check on the traffic. We have some accidents as we get through the afternoon, the early part of the drive. In Richland County, Bookman Road at Old Two Notch Road. Richland Faro Road near I-77. Dreher Shoals Road at Dutch Fork Road in Ballantyne, Columbia. Hazelwood Road at Garner's Ferry Road. And back in Richland again, Marchbank Parkway at Hardscrabble Road. We'll come back. Get more into James Franklin's comments from Saturday in South Carolina and Miami canceling their home and home. It's coming up on the postgame show.
We'll get J next segment, but that's all right. I think the computer
It's in the wrong spot.
it just jumped one.
That's all right.
Gotta love computers.
It's never the computer's fault.
Yeah, it's all right.
We'll get to that next.
We'll get to that. In a little
that's
bit
coming. We got some good J or nay, too.
Good.
So we got right now. How about James Franklin?
Yeah, before we
James
do
or nay?
Yeah, we will get back to y'all's phone calls. Sit tight, 803-404-6100. And many of you have weighed in on Twitter as well. And we'll get some hits on the Firehouse Subs text line. But again, I do want to hear from you before I say anything else on this Carolina-Miami cancellation. And if you've just tuned in, just got in the car, the timestamp on the release was 3:10. So while we were in our opening segment, Carolina and Miami mutually announced that they were canceling the 26 and 27 games between the two schools in football, which is, for me personally, I think a lot of people, a bummer. Again, I get it, but it doesn't mean I got to like it. Meanwhile, the Pennsylvania State University, who went into the season as a top 5 team and picked by many to win the Big Ten Conference, started out with 3 really easy games. They won them. Then they took a week off. Then they hosted a very good Oregon team who might actually be the best team in the Big Ten this year. Don't know. Lost to Oregon at home. And then after feeling really bad about themselves, they went out to L.A. and played UCLA. Conference game.
And look, I mean, I think that we should give Penn State some credit. They went out there being nice guests and said, UCLA, you've really struggled all year.
By the way, did you see the opening crowd at the Rose Bowl? It was seriously
26 people.
UCLA fans, but I swear I mean, I felt like the majority was Penn State.
Penn State fans.
They took a trip.
Yeah, it was funny. Did you see the 10 people that stormed the field?
Stayed. Yeah. It was like, way to go. UCLA, you got fans.
It was crazy.
But I was surprised they didn't storm the field after they.
It was, it was 27-7 at halftime, UCLA. And then, to their credit, Penn State did try to mount a comeback, and they scored 30 points in the second half. But by then, it was too late, and the final score was Bruins 42, Nittany Lions 37. But here was James Franklin trying to explain why his team played so poorly.
Obviously, we did not handle last week's loss well. We also lost some players in that game during the week, and then everything else, the travel, everything else. Did not come out with the right energy to start the game, and before you know it, obviously they get a touchdown drive and an onside kick, and now you're fighting. They gain confidence, and we're fighting for the next 3 quarters. So that's my responsibility, and I didn't get it done.
No, you didn't.
The last part was correct.
Yeah.
Didn't get it done.
They traveled to L.A. The week prior, as I told you, Oregon had traveled all the way east to State College.
How'd that go?
They won, Terry. And by the way, from Eugene, Oregon to State College, Pennsylvania is a shade under 2,700 miles. Roughly the same. In fact, you don't want me to
I'm
get
doing
you?
it right now from State College, L.A.
Yeah, I got it because I'm already there. Let's see. It is. Well, look, if you see, it's
20,
so far.
25, almost 2,600 miles.
Okay, so about the same.
Yeah, about the same.
About the same.
But to be fair,
Yeah,
you know,
25, 60.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
But to be fair, Oregon flew, Penn State walked.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
Look, UCLA was not good. UCLA was a 20-something point underdog. They had not yet won a football game until this one. They had not only fired their head coach a couple of weeks ago, but the interim head coach then went and fired the current offensive coordinator and handed the reins over to Rick Neuheisel's kid, Jerry, who also played at UCLA. UCLA had lost by 33 points to Utah, by 7 points to Vegas, by 25 points to New Mexico, and they lost a nail-biter in Chicago to Northwestern 17-14. So they were 0-4.
Had not led all year in a game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then they go out and do what they did to Penn State.
And the thing is, I mean, look, God bless them. I don't know that they might win another game, but
Yeah,
They host Maryland. Honestly, their best chances are hosting Maryland and hosting Nebraska.
Yeah, and look, man, the travel thing, stop.
But yeah, but you can't say the travel,
can't
all
say
of
the
it. No,
travel.
like and look, he probably wants that one back.
Sure,
But
you should. You
but
better.
but it is on him. It is, and look, I know coaches can't go play, but you gotta
Look,
you are supremely talented.
this was a team you did not take seriously. Your team did not take seriously, and you went out there and got embarrassed. And let's just that's what happened to you. Don't blame travel. Don't blame time zones. Two things: A, Oregon came to your house and beat you in a whiteout with 110,000 drunks. B, is that your conference, this is what your conference built. Your conference wanted all the money. They wanted to be coast to coast, every time zone. So if you're really upset about travel, you can leave the Big Ten, James. Right. You can leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got jail.
What the hell were you doing during the week to practice for this game?
Well,
After losing,
they were moping. They were, man. Seriously, I think they had convinced themselves that they were going to beat Oregon and that this was their year. And I understand all that. That's sports, and you can get yourself all geeked up for it. And I'm before we just completely dump all over them, which they deserve. I want to give them a shred of credit for the halftime adjustment.
For the comeback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they tried. I mean, you're down 20 at the break.
They cut it to a one-score game.
And they made it, and they lost by 5. So, but look, you lost.
Yeah.
There's no moral victory there. But so, Jalen, whatever they didn't do during the week, James poured into their head for the 15 minutes of halftime. But it wasn't enough. But it's still all on there. But you get the thing. Travel. You can't. Don't
use
give me
travel. I just think you didn't take them seriously. It's that simple.
Yes.
Because you lost that Oregon game. Now you're going to get right at UCLA. And look, James Franklin did what I'm sure James Franklin didn't sit around there and on the during the meeting on Sunday or Monday was sitting there vaping, saying, "Guys, don't worry about it. It's UCLA. Let's all go hit some of the cool spots in State College." No. I guarantee he showed cut-ups of what few good UCLA moments there were all year. Said, you got to take these guys seriously, blah, blah, blah. And the players went, dude.
Yeah.
You see how bad UCLA's been? Come on.
So, but don't blame
the travel.
Don't blame the travel.
Nope.
Quincy wants to weigh in on the big news of the day locally, the Carolina-Miami cancellation. Hey, Quincy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Definitely, I'm just getting in my vehicle hearing the news. So it's bittersweet for me on two different levels. One, I grew up a huge Miami fan. I became a Miami fan. What's ironic, it was the outcome of the Florida State and South Carolina game. I think Florida State won like 59-0 in 88.
Yes.
From that moment on, I hated Florida State. Miami defeated Florida State later that season. I became a huge Miami fan, grew up, went to Carolina, graduated from Carolina, did not get to attend the Miami-South Carolina Bowl game, and was looking forward to the home-and-home series. So, personally, definitely understand it from both schools' standpoint. I think Miami would have needed the game more than South Carolina, being that they're playing the ACC. From South Carolina's standpoint, you're playing 9 SEC games. You play Clemson, so that's 10 games. Then you would have played Miami, that's 11. That would have left really one other game. I get it from both teams, from both sides, but definitely I would have looked forward to attending.
Yeah, and like I said, thanks, Quincy, and I like that unique standpoint that you have there. And yes, I was at that.
Were you at that game?
Nothing. Okay. Thanks for reminding me of that. But and I know we're up against a break here. Like again, I get it. I keep saying that. I get it. I just don't like it, and I've made that abundantly clear as why as well. We'll have more on it for you next hour. Lots to do on the postgame show. All right, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here on this Monday afternoon. Jalen at Master Control. Headlines of the day coming up. Gamecock Notebook. I'm going to get into a lot more. There pretty good reaction that I'm getting here on the Twitter feed. So we'll have that as part of the Gamecock Notebook. But a lot of you, and I've thrown out. Again, I've already given you my opinion, but. In terms of sort of the competing opinions of this, I've just asked who else feels this way, and a lot of you are reacting with some from both sides of it. So I get that. But again, if you're like, what are you talking about, Jay? Carolina and Miami have canceled their home and home. And I do not believe they will be the only SEC and ACC schools that do this. And as I said, looking ahead to next year, the only school so far, and I haven't had a chance to, this will probably be more of my show prep for tomorrow than it will be for anything we do while we're on the air. Georgia is playing Georgia Tech in Louisville next year. So Georgia does have a 10th and 11th Power 4 game, if you will. And I don't remember who else Georgia was playing out of. I mean, somebody small. Austin Peay again, maybe? No. I don't remember.
Somebody, though, of that ilk.
Somebody like that.
Like that, sort of.
All right.
Jay versus
we have
Renee?
music for this?
Yes. Jalen, pick us out one of our game show themes really quick. Over in the old hockeys. We got tons of these now. Man.
Good.
Chris Logan and I were having a great time listening to game show music. Took me back.
That's good. That's good.
Back to the old days.
Yeah.
Back, when we had black and white TVs and rabbit ears. And
how old are you? I did have a black
just
and white
turned
TV.
23. I had my first TV when I lived alone. When I first hit my first place by myself was a black and white TV.
Really?
It was just some piece of dude.
Yeah, obviously.
It had antennas. It was awful.
All right, I don't know if we have
something there,
I don't know if we have game show music.
No, it's in there. He just has to find it.
All
Just
right.
keep paging over there, Jalen, because I really want some game show music here. Keep going. Nope, that's not it. Keep going. Hit another one. Keep going. Hit another one. There you go, buddy. Just hit one. There you go. All right. Jay versus Jay or Nay.
There you go. Let's do it.
This should be Bill Belichick's only season coaching in North Carolina. The powers that be in Chapel Hill need to end this mess at the end of 2025.
Jay, it's so much more than who he. Look, it's a very different animal. They look lost. He looks lost. We know already that Bubba Cunningham, their athletics director, did not ever want to make this move. In fact, I don't think it ever even entered his consciousness as he was trying to replace Mac. They don't have the horses to run the race. I think Bill Belichick believes that he can just get some dudes and watch some film and make them better, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, you could make them better. You can, but not to the level of justifying a $10 million salary plus all the other things that he's getting in terms of staff, et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, look.
It's not going to happen.
You got to go recruit dudes.
Yeah.
That's the way this works, man.
And he's not going to recruit. So you can go hire a staff of recruiters, too.
Right.
But it's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not, Jay. All right.
So
Jay
that's a J.
That's a J.
That's a J.
All right, Jay or nay. All right, this is not a Jay or nay. This is an opinion question for you, sir. Missouri's undefeated. They'll host Alabama. Texas Tech's undefeated. They'll host Kansas. A&M's undefeated. They'll play Florida. Which one of those undefeated teams is most likely to get beat this coming up week?
Missouri. But I don't know that they will, but Missouri. Texas Tech has impressed me. I think they are the class of the Big 12 this season. Thought they might lose a couple of their games already, and not only have they won them, they've won them convincingly. A&M.
It's Florida.
Where's that game?
I think it's in College Station. I got it right here in front of me. I believe it. Yep, it's in College Station.
Yeah, okay. I like that one better for you or for A&M than if it was at UF. Yeah, I think Alabama is definitely
Missouri.
more talented than Missouri. Alabama's playing good football, Terry.
Oh, absolutely they are. They learned from that beatdown they took from Florida
They
State.
did. I think their second half the other day. I know you can say whatever you want. Carolina fans, say whatever you want. Georgia fans, say whatever you want about Vandy. It doesn't matter to me. But you blanked them, and you made Diego nervous.
That was a 14-14 game, man.
And then it wasn't.
All right. This individual is 74 years old today. Hit it, Jalen. 74.
You should have seen by the look in my eyes, baby.
Kevin Cronin Lead singer of REO Speedwagon is 74 years old today.
Chicago's own, right?
Yep, he is Chicago, Illinois. Jay or nay on REO Speedwagon?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I was never a big.
I've got no Jay, nay, or middle.
I was never a big fan, but I don't hate them either. They're fine. Happy birthday,
Happy
Kevin.
birthday, Kev. 74, man. Accidents real quick. Bookman Road at Old Two Notch Road, Dreher Shoals Road at Dutch Fork Road, Hazelwood Road at Garner's Ferry Road, Farrow Road near I-77.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Monday. It's also the final hour of the post-game show. Alongside Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. Jalen Tart is running master control for us today. We start with the news that has basically dominated a lot of the show today, but I will read verbatim the press release that came down just after we came on the air at 3 o'clock today. University of South Carolina and the University of Miami football programs announced Monday that they have mutually agreed to cancel their home-and-home football series for the 2026 and 2027 seasons. The Hurricanes were scheduled to play at Williams-Brice in 2026, with the Gamecocks making the trip to Hard Rock Stadium in 2027. Both the SEC and ACC are moving to 9-game conference schedules in 2026. South Carolina has a non-conference home game against Towson and a road game at Clemson on its 2026 slate, and is actively pursuing a third non-conference opponent. Miami's 3 2026 non-conference games are Florida A&M and Central Michigan, both at home, and away to Notre Dame. I mentioned it a bunch already today. I get this. I understand why it's being done. I don't like it. I will make no secret, as I both editorialize and give you the news on this story. And those of you who listen to me routinely already know this about me. I am a proponent of nothing but Power 4 schools playing Power 4 schools in the non-conference games. I'd like to see some kind of rotation of schools playing each other, a different conference, or at least somebody from one of the other conferences every year. Obviously, you have Clemson out of the ACC every year, so that might check that box. But somebody out of the Big Ten, somebody out of the Big 12, powers that be can make that work. Until they do, I get it. And it's not just the winning and the losing part. A lot of this is the logistics of home games and a lot of other things that go into it. But and Shane Beamer has made this point before when it comes to Carolina specifically, and we've seen other schools say it as well. If everybody's doing it, we'll do it. But if they're not, then we just can't or won't or shouldn't. And that's fair. I don't know if that's the right word I should apply to it, Terry, but that I get it. And I'm not really even here. I'm not here to criticize this decision. I guess if anything, I'm here to lament this decision.
Sure. I mean, you get it. You understand it. You're just bummed. Sure.
And by the way, Jeremiah Donati scheduled to be with Terry and me on Wednesday. This will now absolutely come up, not only in terms of how this went down, but what you do to fill the current hole. And notice this is only about the Miami series, so you still, for now at least, have home and homes with North Carolina and North Carolina State. Although I would imagine if nothing else changes from a national scheduling perspective, that those games would be in jeopardy. And then you've got 9 conference games in Clemson, and then you've got 2 teams that will most likely not move the meter with fans or your television partners. And at some point, that, to me, that last point, has to be the one that college football leadership gets its arms around and says, what do we do about this? And this season, one of the things that the Southeastern Conference has said in terms of going to the 9th conference game was some level of assurance that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee was going to take strength of schedule into greater account than they, at least from a perception standpoint, did last season. I still contend that I think they did put it into last year's selection process, but how much more? And others don't always see it the way I do. But again, I do think there's the reasons that Carolina, Mississippi, and Alabama were the last 3 teams, those last teams on the bubble, if you will, were because of strength of schedule, because there were a few 10-win teams that didn't get consideration.
Right.
And 9-3 Missouri of the SEC didn't get consideration.
I just think
so. I think they took it into account to some degree, but I just want
everyone's
nothing
just
but
scared
good
of
games.
L's, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's scared of L's,
and I just want good games. That's all I want, and I don't want people to be afraid. And I don't. Again, this is specific to Carolina today in the sense that they've made news today. But I feel this way about all of college football. I just and once again, I am a believer, for instance, that Penn State's really weak non-conference schedule has contributed to them losing 2 games in a row. Now, you might say, well, Jay, they're still more talented than UCLA. They are. They shouldn't have lost to UCLA.
Nope.
And the Oregon game was a toss-up game. I think Penn State was, what, a 2.5-point favorite? I mean, Oregon's really good, man. And so I wasn't at all surprised that Oregon won that game. But James Franklin and Penn State, can you say to yourself, you really got your team geared up? And look, there are certain times, like, for instance, maybe the beginning of last season for South Carolina, that it was more advantageous to play Old Dominion than Virginia Tech, although Old Dominion gave you a game.
It's just surprising to everyone.
But my point on some of these is, especially the ones that open the season, is how much more I believe it can prep you in the summer, how much more it engages your team, your fan base, and get you ready to play big-time games when what you do in your league is play big-time games. And it's sports, y'all. So somebody loses.
Right.
And I don't like being afraid of the law. And I don't think that's all this is.
No, not at all. I think this is the reality of where the sport is when the scheduling's not equal across the board. You don't want to put yourself at a scheduling disadvantage when your goal is to compete for the college football playoff, correct?
What's ironic, though, Terry, to your point, is that even if there had been an 8-game conference schedule, and we didn't go to 9, Carolina's going to keep this. But you know who's not going to play a tougher schedule? Missouri,
no,
Kentucky,
not
Arkansas.
At all. No.
So I guess the point I make here is it really isn't a whole lot different for what you were going to be and what you were going to do. And again, it's not to criticize. And let's see who they fill the hole with.
That's my point. I mean, I think we've been batting it around.
But if you
here.
fill it with Elon, sorry, Elon.
Yeah, no offense.
Then I'm not.
I just wish you would get to the point where we could get to the point where, like college basketball, I know it's a lot more games. I get it, but you don't get crushed for a loss in the non-conference if you play tough competition. So you're not afraid to schedule tough because again, we don't. We only talk about one-loss record, it feels like, in college football. I mean, not Major League Baseball, not obviously the NHL or the NBA. No one cares if an NBA champion won 55 games or 45 games. Nobody cares about, college basketball, the NFL. We focus on college football and the one-loss record of the champion. We go back to that LSU team that had multiple losses. Remember that? Oh, my gosh, were they worthy?
07.
I mean, so we do this all the time with college football. Because we've been programmed for generations to feel that way.
And college football, whether, again, we talked about whether it was the beauty pageant of the voting era, which, again, didn't end until the 90s, the late 90s, or BCS was just 1 versus 2, so it was really difficult to be 1 or 2. And even then with 4, it was really difficult to be one of the 4. Now it's going to be 12 again, and soon enough it's going to be 16. So the leeway, the mulligans, whatever, has gotten a lot bigger, and there's more opportunity to schedule these kind of games. And once again, I don't want to just focus my feeling on South Carolina, even if they're the ones in the news today. But we'll see. We got more on this. And again, Jeremiah Donati is coming up, but a lot of you have weighed in on Twitter. So we'll have more of this in the Gamecock Notebook coming up in just a little bit here. In the meantime, one more note on Carolina football. Oklahoma coming to Columbia next week. That game will kick at either noon or 12:45. So it will be a brunch tailgate.
And go to brunch. That would be fantastic.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The brunch tailgate remains my favorite tailgate.
That's your favorite?
Yeah, I just like brunch food.
I love brunch food.
Yeah,
brunch is good, man.
So making that as part of the tailgate, I'm down.
I like to do brunch for dinner. I love brunch.
Yeah, I got no problem with that. Have at it, man. Staying with college football, the new AP Top 25 is out. Ohio State remains the number 1 team in the country. They had a week off, and they did so by beating Minnesota by 39 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think Minnesota scored first. Am I right about that?
I think you're right.
I think
and
Minnesota,
that was it, man. The door got shut.
It was 42-3.
Yeah,
and I think Ohio State probably could have won like 142 to 3.
And the thing is, like, Minnesota's not a punching bag. They're a solid team. They just can't score.
Yeah, well, I don't
They're like they'll go to a bowl
I'm going to go.
game.
Listen, I'm not the biggest sports expert, but I think in order to win a lot of games, you do need to score.
Well, tell our row the boat guy that. I mean, you want to talk about boring offense. Sometimes some of those Minnesota games make Kentucky look exciting.
But he looks do in his tie. PJ
Looks good.
He's a throwback. He's a throwback coach on the sideline.
I mean, he is immaculate in his dress. Think he irons his underwear?
I don't know. I hope not. You don't need to iron your underwear.
Yeah, some people do. I know people. My kid's uncle does, I think.
Why?
With it on. He puts it on first.
No. Why?
Some people are like that, man.
Yeah,
They're
but
just
but I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm turned like, what's the benefit?
I don't know.
Like, if you iron your shirt or your pants,
maybe you don't want wrinkly underwear.
But people are not going to see that.
But I mean,
you feel it. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't iron mine. Matter of fact, I bunched mine up on purpose.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, no. I don't think PJ Fleck irons his underwear, but he looks good. But his team did not.
His team does not score points.
And Ohio State remains number one. They got 40 first-place votes. Miami gets 21 first-place votes, moves up a spot over the Oregon Ducks to number 2. Oregon is 3. Mississippi is 4th. Texas A&M is now number 5.
Can I throw something at you really quick? Well, it's not November yet. But you know what's so funny about all this? The way it's all played out. Ohio State's number 1. Their big win early was Texas. How much big does that feel now? Not as big as at the time, right? Okay, follow me here. So Miami, I mean, they beat Florida State. They were beating them like a drum until the fourth quarter, and Miami kind of stopped trying, right?
They did.
You know, and Miami earlier this year, who'd they beat? Beat Florida.
Yeah, and Notre Dame.
Now, the Notre Dame win still feels like it's a pretty good win. The others, because the way things are going.
The Florida win is a good win. It's a good win. It's not a great win.
It's an okay win. We'll see where it goes. Good win. But then Florida, they beat Texas. So again, going back to Texas, how good is Texas? Not as good as we thought they were going to be.
No, they're not.
And Florida, you know, I mean, they've lost, to some vocational schools.
They're 2 and 3.
All right, so then you get to some of these wins. I mean, like so my point is,
USF on
some of these wins we thought were wins that were like, wow. Now you're going. Like Oregon. Oregon was pumping its chest going to Penn State, right? Yeah. You're feeling really good. It's a whiteout, 110,000 or whatever. Penn State's there competing with you for, a spot in the college football playoff. You left that place feeling great, right?
Yeah.
And then this week you saw Penn State go to UCLA and get a little.
Well, Oregon's
But you know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is like, because it's just college football. I mean, who is clearly the best team in college football right now in your mind? Is there a clear best team?
Yeah, Ohio State. And I think Oregon is right there with them. I do. And I want to say Miami, it's not fair to the Hurricanes. I don't know if being an ACC school is affording them the same level of like positivity that Oregon and Ohio State get, or that Mississippi or Alabama. Like, look, here, might get something like that. Look, again, Ole Miss 4, A&M 5, Oklahoma 6, Indiana 7, Alabama 8, Texas Tech 9, Georgia 10. Also, I like Georgia a lot, too.
I think.
And if Georgia had beaten Alabama, Georgia's right up there with them. Yeah. Georgia is better than people want to believe, and Georgia's got some things to fix. Anyway, let me get to this. Hold on, because I got to get out of here. LSU 11, Tennessee 12, Georgia Tech is undefeated, 13th. Wait, how about that? Missouri is number 14, and Michigan is 15. Nice win for them over Wisconsin. Notre Dame is 16th. Illinois 17. BYU 18. BYU took it to West Virginia. Virginia is number 19, and Vandy drops to number 20. And the final 5, Arizona State, Iowa State, Memphis, South Florida, and Florida
12
State.
of the 25 are undefeated still.
Yeah. Penn State and Texas, who were both top 10 schools last week, fell out.
Matter of fact, 1 and 2 in some polls preseason.
Yeah. And I saw some guy say, you got to get rid of preseason polls. No, you don't. You just got to go play football games.
Right, you got to go
and
win.
Then people vote on what's going on. That's our headlines of the day from Integrated Media. Gamecock Notebook is next. And I'll tell you even more about integrated media. Look, I never try to wish our lives away, but before you know it, it will be holiday season, all right? We are basically now into that time of consciousness, and that means college and pro playoffs are getting here, bowl games, basketball season will be underway, plus your favorite holiday movies, shows, concerts, parades. Want to watch all that better than ever? Time to call integrated media. And just like Santa, the guys at Integrated will make house calls. Beautiful state-of-the-art HD televisions, amazing lifelike sound with Dolby Atmos systems in the ceiling, in the walls, or the flexibility of the Sonos systems that you can move around. Upgrade your Wi-Fi for better streaming for all of those great shows and games that you get under the tree, working from home. Whatever you need, Integrated Media makes it happen. Call them up. They come to you, 803-948-8327, the best in home theater. My friends at Integrated Media. All right, Gamecock Notebook time on this Monday. Welcome back in. We get to react to some Gamecock news today. It's just not a football game. But once again, if you've just gotten in the car, maybe missed it at the top of the news, at 5 today, just after 3 o'clock, right after we came on the air. Carolina and Miami announced they had mutually agreed to cancel their 26 and 27 home and home. Throwing a lot of this stuff out on Twitter. And like I say, I'm disappointed. I'm not here to be critical. I'm not here to say that Carolina and Miami are doing it wrong. I believe college football could change all of this and begin to change minds and ways of thinking about what the old days were when you had to win every game. And if you're going to have an expanded playoff and you can go play more tough games, I would rather see it. And I would say that for every school in the Power Four. I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm not here to criticize Carolina. But I was looking forward to that. I think that's a really nice opportunity for South Carolina football to grow its brand, because Miami is seen as a bigger brand than you. Right now, they're certainly seen as a better program than you, and it hadn't always been that way these last few years. And even when both teams weren't very good and they played in a bowl game, a lot of fans around here, and I remember, but hey, cool. We beat Miami in a bowl game. So, it's just good football. In my opinion, it's just something that's good for everybody. And for Miami, they get to play a team out of the Southeastern Conference. But anyway.
It would have been fun.
It would have been. And so, as I say, I'm not really here to criticize the decision. I am lamenting the decision. And I think that's the way I feel about it. Let me get to some of these on Twitter, and then I want to get to John, who's waiting on the line. 803-404-6100, by the way, AAA phone lines if you want to weigh in on this, too. Donnie says, I don't like it, but until it's uniform through all the conferences, it's a good move. Indiana did the same thing. They play a light schedule, and then he talks about, their conference games. Look, I get it, and quite honestly, Donnie, I'll be honest with you. Remember, this summer, Indiana canceled a series with Mighty Virginia.
And look at Mighty Virginia this year.
Yeah, well, but still,
Man.
I mean, hey, Indiana, if you want to be good, you can't be afraid to play Virginia.
Look, Virginia's having a nice year this year, but they're a lower-level ACC team for the last, decade, roughly?
Yeah.
Come on.
Josh says, people hate the cupcake games now that we open against quality competition. Go back to the old way. First game of the season should be a cupcake. You'll be thrilled that Gamecock football is back. Then, the week before Clemson should be a cupcake as well. The second point, maybe. The first point, Josh, I get your point, man, but once again, I can't think about all of this solely through the lens of the school I pull for. Because everybody now in major college football is getting a lot of money, and the primary reason they're getting a lot of money is to be on television and play good games against one another.
Mm-hmm.
And the opening weekend, quite honestly, it's like now, and I'm not going to count these whatever week 0 crap, but the first week, you don't get any conference games.
Mm-hmm.
Let's open with some conference games. All right?
I have a problem with that.
Let's ramp it up. Carolina used to play Georgia to open the year. But then, weeks 2 and 3 even, Terry, it's like, oh, well, we get 3 good games. And then all of a sudden, everything is a little bit better. But, and Josh, this is why, and I know Shane Beamer feels this way because he said it on these very airwaves in addition to other places. This is why we need a preseason game.
Sure.
And you want to do that and charge $5 to get in and have that against
preseason
whomever?
game would be great.
But I mean, let's do that. And you might get hurt. Well, I mean, it's football. It's football.
And people play and hit each other. Here's the issue about it. It's very simple. Is look, the way people watch sports and not even watch sports, ingest content. When you didn't have an internet and you didn't have social media and you didn't have 17,000 cable channels and you went to the game against the cupcake, because what else did you have to do, right?
Right.
You know what I can do now? I can go do something that I really want to do, and I can keep up with that game on my phone. I don't have to go.
Right.
I don't have to invest all that time and money in a game that's not going to be interesting. I can just keep up with it on my phone. And look, I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying that's what people do.
It's true. That's
what
real.
people
it
do
happens.
now.
Yeah.
Or I'll DVR it, and I'll go maybe later that night or the next day and flip through it and see if there's anything I missed, or I'll go watch a highlight package on YouTube.
Yeah.
We watch sports different now, so we have to start thinking differently about the games we schedule because, again, like you said, all this money ain't given out for South Carolina to play Towson, not to be mean.
No, it's not. Or Chattanooga or ETSU. The first game, and again, I don't say this as a brag, but I've told you before, and I've said it on the air. I didn't miss a game at Williams-Brice from 1990 to like 2018, and I think it was Chattanooga. Or somebody. I'll go back and look. But that and I went to go do something out of town with my oldest daughter when she was finally away at school. And I was like, well, and I think it must have been, I don't know, because I'd said, I think it was Chattanooga, because I remember saying to somebody like, wow, you missed a game. I was like, if it had been Tennessee,
right,
then I'm going to the game,
right.
But because it wasn't. And so I broke a long streak of not going for a lot of the reasons.
And then you go back and read up on it or watch a highlight later.
Yeah. Let's get to John up next on the AAA phone lines. Hey, bud.
Hey, John.
In 2018, I missed a game as well at Williams-Brice. It was because it was that Toledo game that they made up for the Marshall game that got canceled earlier that year because of the hurricane. Went on a vacation that I'd already pre-planned, but that broke my string. But I haven't missed a home game since that one, so hoping to keep that alive. Today's news, Jay and Terry, is very disappointing because that's an opportunity to be showcased.
Yep.
You know, you think about the Virginia Tech game this year. It was on Sunday. It was in Atlanta. We were the only game on at that time. It was an opportunity to be showcased. Now, let's be honest, it's not going to be a Power 4 opponent, because if they wanted to have a Power 4 opponent, they would have fought to keep the Miami game.
Yep.
But that being said, you know, I think it's certainly disappointing but not shocking. I think once they announced that it was going to be a 9-games conference schedule for both the SEC and the ACC, it was not going to be any surprise that this came. What I hope Carolina does, because it's not going to be a Power 4 opponent, I hope they at least go with a Group of 5 opponent like ECU, Appalachian State, Georgia State, or Coastal, to still have at least some flair to the game, because you want to have some kind of a draw. And look, I know there's a certain fan base down in Charleston that's going to get on me for saying this, my father included, but Carolina does not benefit at all by playing Wofford, Furman, or the Citadel. No. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't draw any fans. It doesn't draw any TV eyes. So you want to have at least somebody on the schedule that you replace Miami with that will at least make people want to get up, go to the games, get up, turn the game on, and stay glued for all 60 minutes, or at least until the game becomes less than competitive. Because
I agree. I'm up against it, John, here for the break. Listen, I'm completely with you on that, and I have no idea. Again, Jeremiah Donati is going to be on the show on Wednesday. We will get as much of an update on who fills that void on the schedule next year from Jeremiah. I doubt he gives us an answer, but I'll certainly hope that he does. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will on Wednesday.
Do we go Mike Wallace on him?
We'll try, right? But why won't you tell us, Jeremiah? Anyway, John, thank you. Drive Around the SEC is next.
Again, your home is, for most people, the biggest investment they ever have. And a lot of people like their home in a particular way. or they want to make their home a particular way. Well, if you're going to go down that path, 803-978-2025 is the number to call. Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest, there on Gadsden and the Vista. You make that phone call and you say, here's what I'm looking to do. The folks at The Nest will then transfer you to the expert in that field, 70 years of experience in that showroom at Kreger Showrooms. They will then talk with you, get a basic idea what you want. You come on in, you tell them your budget, your vision, what you want to do, what direction you want to go, and then they will walk you around the greatest showroom in the history of mankind. And you will look around and get an idea of what you want. Then they will put it together for you, make it happen in your budget, in your vision. It's very simple. 803-978-2025. Call the experts at The Nest in the Vista. Get a check on the traffic. Stop and go traffic in Columbia, also at Malfunction Junction as well. We have stop and go. Again, that's I-26 westbound between Sunset and St. Andrews and Columbia, Malfunction Junction, I-126 between Bush River Road and I-26 with issues. Accident reported DeQuincy Newman Freeway, northbound at Farrow Road. Jeff Davis Highway, northbound at Highway 126 as well. And I-20 westbound, there's heavy traffic. Wilson Boulevard, exit 71 between Monticello Road.
Turn the microphone on, Phillips. It's drive around the SEC time here on a Monday. Jay and Terry with you. Jalen at Master Control. Again, if you didn't hear, Carolina, Miami, 26-27, home and home, canceled today. South Carolina, LSU kicks at 7:45 this weekend. The Oklahoma game next weekend at Williams-Brice will kick at either 12 or 12:45. Before we get into some scores and reaction to the SEC weekend, more news. Speaking of scheduling, Auburn went to Waco this past season and beat the Baylor Bears. And that game was scheduled to be a return to Jordan-Hare next year. Instead, Auburn is going to move it to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta as part of the Aflac kickoff game. They say it hopes to provide NIL opportunities for Auburn players, a first in college football for neutral site games.
Interesting.
The Peach Bowl. It says here, in coordination, not cooperation, in coordination with the Aflac game, will provide opportunities for promotional appearances for Auburn players, promoting ticket sales and other events. Says John Cohen, the Auburn AD, quote, anytime we have the ability to advance Auburn student-athletes' ability to earn third-party NIL compensation, we'll take that. The exposure of playing on a national stage against a Power 4 opponent in one of the premier neutral site games in the country will not only benefit our student-athletes financially, but it will also enhance their brand.
Question.
Yes.
So you're taking your home game to go neutral site for NIL opportunities?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea unless you're an Auburn season ticket holder.
Yeah, and I wonder, because I thought about that earlier today when I saw this. Here's the thing. I agree with you. There are tons of Auburn fans that live in Atlanta.
Oh, trust me, Auburn will be well represented.
And they, in fact, it isn't like, let's face it, I mean, it's Auburn, and the town, I mean. You know, the fans that fill up a 90,000-seat stadium don't live in Auburn.
No.
They live in Birmingham, they live in Atlanta, they live in Columbus, and they make their way to Jordan-Hare every weekend when they want to go see the Tigers play. So in this sense, this is actually probably a reward for a significant percentage of that fan base that lives in Atlanta. Like, hey, you'll basically get a game here.
Yeah.
And if it's going to pay them more money, it's an interest. It's interesting because I'm with you.
I just wonder, and there might not be any. Again, I don't know. I don't live here.
If you're
don't
an
hang.
Auburn season ticket holder, maybe John Cohen works. Something in to have this, at least if not be part of the season ticket package.
Give you an opportunity.
Then
maybe.
you certainly get first dibs.
Because that'd be my first off. I'm setting this up, and I see all these great positives for Auburn, for the brand, for the players, for everything. I got to also think about my season ticket base.
Yeah.
What do I do so I don't have angry season? And look, they might not have a lot of angry season ticket holders about this.
Well, he's going to write them a letter. I mean,
Right.
look, if he's done this, if we know this publicly, then John Cohen has written a letter that says, dear fans.
Because
we're going to pay these boys a lot of money to do this.
Because again,
and you don't have to.
Like always, man, you always want to take care of the base, the people that write the checks and show up at your stadium. But again, my guess is it's been buttoned up pretty well. But that was my first thought. I was like, wait a minute, I got season tickets.
And again, and same thing with Tuscaloosa, which is obviously much closer to Birmingham than Auburn is. But
you're telling me that all the Auburn grads don't live in Auburn, Alabama?
No. And that's why I always laugh when they say, like, oh, the Clemson fans travel. I'm like, y'all, like when they do it like on national TV, like from Clemson to so-and-so, I'm like, y'all, they don't live in Clemson. Like Carolina fans, LSU fans, yeah, you might say that the majority of the folks that fill the ballpark up, Tennessee fans, they probably live in the greater metro.
In that vicinity, right?
Yeah. Not to say they all do, because they all don't. They all don't.
Right.
We have plenty of.
There's a
Gamecock
bigger
fans.
Percentage.
Yeah, but again, Knoxville and Baton Rouge and Columbia are like basically the same size city.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're all roughly roughly the same.
Yep. Medium-sized market, SEC college towns.
Yeah, but like Ole Miss fans don't live in Oxford; they live in Jackson and Memphis. And other places, but I mean that's like
you're going to tell me that next thing you're going to do is tell me the Mississippi State people don't live in Starkville.
Most of them don't live in Starkville.
What are you doing here?
So just say it. Anyway, but it's an interesting move, and one that can't be replicated by everybody.
No,
so I think way to go Auburn to take advantage of that.
And I'm guessing you've and like we're talking about, you talk to your season ticket base, so you make them feel good. Everything here is nothing but a thumbs up for Auburn.
And since Baylor's the road team, they got no real say in it. But they're going to be like, yeah.
That was my next question was, well, Baylor, well, how about our NIL opportunity?
Yeah, well, I think you work it. Work it.
Hey, step up there, Bears.
I don't see how there's any reason you can't.
You can do stuff.
You might not be able to do it through the game the way, since you're not the home team. I don't know.
Figure out something for Baylor.
Something out. Absolutely. Let's see, this past weekend, let me go back to wrong one. Georgia over Kentucky, 35-14. It wasn't that close.
Nope. That was Kentucky's bad, man.
They are not good.
They're bad. Yeah. Bad.
A&M all over State, 31-9. Let me get the.
Did you see the A&M with that 17-point fourth quarter? That was a close game till A&M pulled away in the fourth quarter.
It was, and let me get because the numbers. I mean, State was trying to hang around. 483 total yards to 219, rush yards 303 to 77.
And bring that. I'm glad you brought that up because there's two teams left on the Carolina schedule that are going to try to run the ball down your throat. One is A&M.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there's that.
And the other's Ole Miss. They'll run the ball.
Mississippi's they're good at running, man.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, Florida again, the big one of the weekend, I think, in terms of the result because we didn't see that one coming. 29-21 over Texas. I don't know what this again. It's college football. It's sports. Things happen. We knew the Florida defense was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think Florida has proven that their defense is good. Is it great? You know, I don't know, but it's good. Texas on the other hand. It's easy now. It's become low-hanging fruit to just say, "Oh, Arch isn't as good as okay." I'm so sick of hearing about how good Arch isn't. If you follow me, there's so much else that's wrong with Texas. They don't block well. They don't run well. I don't think he has enough weapons around him. Their defense is okay, but it's not
as good as everybody thought it was going to be.
It's not, and that happens too. So, we said on Friday. I know you weren't here, but I think you and I talked about it earlier in the week. But on Friday, we were talking about all these games, and I said, look, I think Texas will win because they're a better team, but I'm not going to be surprised if Florida wins this football game.
You and I had this conversation last week.
Florida was a 6-point home underdog.
Because I remember you brought up, you said, Florida, any thought that Florida could win this game? I'm like, I think Texas is better, but no one's going to go on Saturday, oh, my God, Florida actually won?
No. I mean, if it had been a blowout,
that's a surprise.
Then you might, but it wasn't. Again, Florida wins by 8. But yeah, I looked at it here. Florida was a 5.5-point home dog.
Yeah, I think that Texas, there's so many other things. Look, no one's saying that Arch can't play better. Of course he can. But the offensive line, he was pressured on 60% of his dropbacks.
He was running around.
Texas could not run the ball to save the life. Texas lost the line of scrimmage on offense repeatedly. Right. So there's a lot more here to get all salty about than just point at Arch Manning.
And Texas now, Oklahoma this weekend, Georgia coming up in Athens. This is probably a season that they'll need to just kind of.
They might be, if they lose to Oklahoma in the State Fair game, which I think they will, they're done.
Pretty much.
Think about it. 3 losses, most likely.
And again, like I said, you still got to go to Athens.
That's not going to be pretty.
And finally, Alabama, all over Vanderbilt in the second half. Listen, Vandy played well. For those of you, a lot of you probably watched some of this. Diego Pavia was good at times, but he had 2 really crucial turnovers down low. Yeah. One a fumble, one a pick. The one on the pick, he never saw the linebacker come in.
Nope.
I feel a little bad for Diego on that one because Stowers was wide open for about 0.8 of a second, and really when you see that pick, the Bama linebacker just bodied him up and got the ball.
Yeah.
And at that point, that really, I think, deflated them. They didn't have much left in them.
No.
And Bama's defense was in total lockdown mode in this.
Second half. Yeah. Alabama took that game over in the second half.
And Alabama covers that one. 30-14 was the final. That's our drive around the SEC brought to you by Herndon Chevy. We'll come back and let you know how we did in the Wild Card Showdown when the postgame show returns.
that millionaire theme ready, brother. Good job.
All right, final few minutes of the program. We will get to Jay versus the Internet in just a second. And I'll give you the final tally on the wild card showdown. But William has been holding on through the drive around, and he wants to weigh in on the news of the day. Carolina, Miami canceling their home-and-home football series. Hey, William, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, William.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying earlier. I fully agree with you. As a fan, this sucks. I was really looking forward to that game. Because look at the national exposure that we could have had playing this game, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's a primetime game, man. I mean, I think I don't have the opening week of next year in front of me, but I guarantee you that gets you a good national TV look, and like I'm with you. I'm with you. That's why I say I get it. So I'm not here to go like, gee whiz, Shane and Jeremiah, why, and Manny Diaz, why would you guys do this?
Right.
We want to play these games.
Yeah, just bummed.
Yeah, that's why I say it's not. I'm not criticizing. I'm lamenting.
Yeah, it would have been a fun game.
And when you replace it with, again, I'm gonna withhold judgment before I'm a smartass about it, because I can be a smartass, believe it or not. Before I want to see the replacement. Because while it will not be someone of the level of Miami, because if it were, then you would play Miami, as we have talked about all day. I'll at least reserve judgment.
Yeah, we'll see who it is.
But if it ends up being...
Again, my guess, it'll be a group of 5 team. Yeah. Is my guess.
Well, and again, even if it's a group of 5, I mean, is it Memphis or East Carolina?
I'm going to go no.
Yeah.
I'm going to go probably not.
I don't. Is it New Mexico State?
Real quick, I'll add, I would not mind playing Memphis. Memphis is having a really good year.
It's a good program.
Yeah.
It's a good group of 5 program.
That would be, again, and I think when John called us earlier, he mentioned that, if it's East Carolina or somebody like that, at least it's, even schedule Marshall, I don't know, something that's got at least a little flair.
Right. If you play.
But again, it's not going to be what was, because what was would otherwise not have been.
Miami's right now a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah. And again, huge. That's why I was looking forward to it, man, because they were back. And I know some Gamecock kids are like, "Oh yeah, great, we get to play Miami when they're back." I'm like, "Yeah, you get to," and that's what Shane always talks about. You get to.
It's fun. That's the good stuff.
And that's what I'm here for as a sports fan. So, all right.
What do you got there first? You want to get the results?
So, congratulations to the air staff, Jay, Terry, Elijah, all winning records this week. Sorry to Clarence and Tyson, who were very fun to talk with on Friday.
Yeah, they were cool.
But Elijah went 3-2. You and I went 4-1. I technically win the week because I got the tiebreaker, which was combined rush yards for Arch and DJ. DJ had none. Arch only had 37. I guess 73 to your 90. But you and I both went 4-1.
Look at us.
Elijah and you are now tied at 15-15. I am 13-17 against the spread.
15-15.
But I'll take a 4-1, man. This is my first 4-1 of the week.
Right here, bud. Good for you. How about
all right,
you?
let's
Look at you go. Hit the music there, Jalen. You are also 1 game up on the internet.
All right.
So you're crushing it. All right, here we go. Chiefs, Jags in Jacksonville. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites.
Okay. See, I'm going to use my J logic on this because you know what I got to do. I got to pull for the Jags
because you want the Chiefs to lose.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, Chiefs.
And then you're gonna give the 3.5 and take the Chiefs.
Chiefs are gonna win.
All right, by 3.5 or more.
Yeah, they'll probably win by 7.
All right, cool. Over under Trevor Lawrence 32.5 pass attempts.
Over.
I agree with that. Oh, this is gonna be easy. Dodgers Phillies game 2 tonight. Taking the ball. Blake Snell, 4.30 road ERA. Jesus Luzardo for the Phillies, 4.30 home ERA. Phillies are down 1-0 to the Dodgers.
Yeah, they are, and that's why I believe Philadelphia is going to win this game.
How hard was that to say out loud?
I don't.
Did that hurt?
It does. I need a little mental Pepto for that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, you feel like somebody stuffed a razor blade down your throat on that one. That's awful.
But I do believe
you are turning colors.
Philadelphia. But the good news for the Dodgers is they already did their part.
They got their split on the road, and you come on back home in a best of 5.
And listen, this way, if I get this right, cool.
And if not,
but if I don't,
guess what?
It means the Dodgers won. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jags game tonight is interesting because the Jags just went, and who would have thunk it that San Francisco's 4-1, and their only loss is a home loss to Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville's better than we think. Kansas City needs to get off their rear end. And I kind of think they will because I'm not convinced yet that Jacksonville is as good as they looked.
I'm not either.
I'm not sure.
I still think there's some struggle with Trevor Lawrence that they've got to get that straightened out.
But I'll pull for Jacksonville because that would give Denver a little bit of an advantage. And I'm still really proud of my Broncos this weekend, man.
Yeah, that was a hell of a win. Well, the Chargers lost. They're now 3-2.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs could lose, they'd be 2-3.
They would.
And then the Raiders.
Denver's got 5 very winnable games before they see the Chiefs.
It's going to look pretty good, man. I'm just saying.
Feeling all right.
Jalen, good work, man.
Nice work.
I appreciate you. Colts 4-1.
Yeah,
no one asked about your Colts.
Ryan Brewer tomorrow. Shane Beamer speaks as well.
See you guys.
See you then.